ああ、セネットの精霊よ。なぜ私をここへ呼び出したのですか？
セナ、その時が来た。お前は今やこの余罪以上のものを守らねばならぬ強大なる邪悪が我らの世界に侵入したのだから。
承知いたしました。どのようなご用命でしょうか？
お前とこの神殿の全ての精霊が力を合わせるのだ。我らは共にこの迫り来る罪悪を阻止せねばならぬのだから。
さて、私たちはここにいる。これからどうなるんだろう。
ここから事態を正し始める。
私の思考が聞こえるの？
君と私はつながっている。だから君は遠くからでも私の声が聞こえたんだ。
なるほど。
準備はよろしいですか？
私に何をしてほしいですか？
さあ、私たち二人が一つになる時が来た。私をあなたの顔に当ててごらん。そうすれば私が見るものがあなたにもわかるだろう。
この感覚。
君と私は今一つになった。
どうやって。
よくもそんなことを。私を忘れろ。
Good day, duelists. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you. It took it took an arm and a leg to make this stream happen. It took an arm and a leg to make this thing happen. I think about 1 to 2 weeks of a delay to finally get this stream going, to have this particular conversation. I mean, it took a lot to get here. And I'll have to catch all of you up on just everything. I mean, it's a lot. Okay, so right, so let's rewind the clock. A couple weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and we'll start from there. That's essentially the origins of what caused this stream in particular to take so long. I'm gonna run us through, and then we will, gosh, hopefully get to it. So first and foremost, I hope everyone's doing well. In my case, at the time when I had originally planned to do this live stream to talk about what's going on with the film some more, talk about the animation short that I decided to put out, it was a massive strike of inspiration, which I definitely want to get into. I have a lot to say about it, and I've had to hold on to this, and I haven't had an outlet really outside of individual private conversations with other duelists and enthusiasts. You know, I really haven't had the opportunity to do this until now. So initially, again, 2-3 weeks ago, I had sustained an injury to my throat, which caused some bleeding, and it prevented me from being able to live stream. And then there was just a lot of weird YouTube complications. I had chats with other creators not too long ago, and some of them even corroborated the story that they were experiencing some weird problems as well. So there was that, and then obviously everything else that I had been dealing with as far as YouTube is concerned and how their platform works. And then you'd think, right, this... I'd have to say, right, if this was some kind of a movie, right, but about someone being just struck with misfortune after misfortune, I ended up almost sustaining a serious tooth injury because of another situation. So it was just problem after problem, and it just continued to prolong doing this stream. And you know, there was a point in that where I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, do I need to just quit? Is it not meant to be? Is this stream just never gonna happen? But we have been so, gosh, where we've come from in the last month or so, of ups and downs. I'd say right now we're at a high. So I actually want to take a moment here now that that's a brief summary to get us caught up. Thankfully, it didn't take me an hour to explain. Gosh, so I want to shout out the supporters over on Patreon real quick. We just hit, and I want to make sure I get this exact number as far as current ongoing donators. We've had a few people come and pitch in, and it's an honor. It's an honor to be able to be supported in this manner in order to keep doing my work. There's been, again, so many ups and downs throughout this whole process, which, case in point, what ultimately held this stream back from ever really happening, which was crazy. Yeah, so we have, as of right now, and I'm going to make sure I get the exact number here. I want to be sure I have this right. As of right now, we are looking at about 5 monthly supporters, and we have some folks that also did one-time donations just to help the cause. There's been some complications as well on my end that actually halted my ability to work on the film. But thanks to the collective of folks that have been supporting on there, I should be able to resume production, which I had to pause it. I had no choice because I had lost access to my tools because of new changes behind the scenes with the devs on particular websites that provided access to certain tools. And I had lost my access because they required certain financial investment in order to regain access. And so at that time, when that had happened, I wasn't prepared to make that investment. So I was going to need to save up for a period. But again, thanks to the folks over on Patreon, and I want to shout out, everybody. First and foremost, I want to shout out two friends of mine whom I've known for quite some time. I have worked with the both of them on YouTube, teaching them how to do this and whatnot, and in hopes that they would succeed in their own avenues and whatnot. So I want to shout out Tech, a good friend of mine, and Y4L Morris Young. These guys in particular very recently made some contributions which are really going to go a long way. And again, I want to shout them out. They are both creators. Tech is a skit creator. He likes to make lots of funny skit videos and whatnot. So if you're into that, I would definitely recommend you check him out. In fact, you guys have, if you haven't already seen, there's going to be some community posts every single time somebody joins us over on Patreon. That individual is going to get a dedicated post just to at least say thanks, if nothing else. And so then the same for Morris. He is a meme slash reactor creator, if you will, here on YouTube. Both of them are here on YouTube. And a shout out to him as well. If you're into that kind of thing, that'll be something else to check out. And again, you'll see these guys mentioned on some posts. One of them has already been put up. But anyway, so then I want to shout out Rebel King. This is another recent donator. It was crazy because Morris had pitched in, and then Rebel King literally followed up in the midst of Morris and I were having a conversation. We were actually speaking, and Rebel King had followed up in the midst of our conversation after he had already made his contribution, and it was like both of us were like, whoa, because obviously we didn't see it coming. So I want to shout you out, being currently the highest tier supporter at the moment, the Exodia tier to be exact. So a massive thank you to you, and a thank you to Ricky Nolan, Kevchan18, and Scar Atlas. You guys are some of the first supporters over there on Patreon, and I want to give my thanks to you guys here live right now, because again, everybody's contributions collectively is what's going to keep this thing going, and it's going to give me the ability to not only work on the film, but to also work on other side projects. And one of those side projects had come out not terribly long ago, and I wanted to talk about it when I had first dropped it, but yeah, right. So now I can finally get into that. It took this long, but I finally managed to make it. And so we're definitely going to get into that. But that was also, in a matter of speaking, that was also kind of a good segue to get into, again, what's going on with the film. So again, I was stunted for a period, and I will be able to resume my production basically starting the following week, which is fantastic. And I'll be able to better manage my time and be able to do a lot more just in general. And again, it's thanks to all the folks on Patreon. So we all should be very, very, very collectively should all be very thankful to them for taking the time out of their day to do so. And whether or not anybody or everybody can, even just being here, showing that support, showing up in the comment sections and the live chats when we go live, gosh, sharing out the channel and these videos, because I can't rely on YouTube to do it, you know. So I'd rather put the power in the hands of the people. That's how I would kind of word it, if you will. I trust you all way more than this platform. And so I want to thank all of you for the overall support, because it really truly does go a long way. Again, there has been ups and downs, but I believe that it's been mostly balanced, if anything, and so I really have no complaints. That being said, gosh, right, the film. So, as of right now, the film is currently, and this is me going publicly again on record to give an update for those that catch this stream or watch it on the playback, The film, as of right now, is at 35 minutes of essential completed footage. And the way that I would put it is, narratively speaking, I'd say I'm about halfway done with the film. Narratively speaking, runtime is a completely different story. It could end up varying. It really does depend, especially once I get back to work and I evaluate what I need to do. I actually had to edit a couple things that didn't require any of the investments that I needed to make as far as working on this thing. And those actually ended up giving a bit of an extension to the current runtime as well, just the small edits that I had to do. Literally very recently, this week, as a matter of fact. And so we're looking at 35 minutes right now, and it's definitely going to, at the bare minimum, it's definitely going to hit an hour for sure. Is it going to hit over? It's possible. It's definitely a possibility. And that being said, I mean, we did not get an opportunity to talk about this, right? So Atem's theme, I decided to share that. Right, he's in the thumbnail of this stream. He's currently on screen for us at this moment in time. That's right. Atem has his own dedicated theme for this film, and that might be something for curiosity's sake. It might pique your curiosity, should I say, as far as why that is, and why Atem is supposedly going to be in the film. Now I definitely got some reactions behind the scenes. It's probably shock and somewhat enthusiasm for sure, as far as what's going on with him. But I can't really say much other than just talking about his theme actually for a moment. And a lot of the themes in general, and a lot of the OSTs for this film, they're meant to convey very specific things. And I wanted to actually talk about his theme in particular. And you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna go ahead and play it in the background for us while I talk about it, because in particular with his, it needed to accomplish a few things in my mind anyway. So you're gonna hear it here any second now. There it is. Right, so the thing about his theme and a lot of the music that will be featured in the film in general, first and foremost, it needed to have a cinematic feel. I wanted it to invoke certain emotions, to be able to put you in a particular state of mind and give you a certain experience when hearing it. And in the case of his theme, it had to be that. It had to be that. This is the pharaoh we're talking about. This is the guy, right, who the original Yugioh story is majority about. It's mostly about him and his journey to piecing together his lost memories and finally being able to go to the afterlife in peace. And that's really what made putting out that theme, or even just putting it together for that matter, it was really, really enjoyable. And for those that didn't notice, because I don't think anybody really put the pieces together on this, so if you didn't catch it, I'm actually going to go ahead and break it down here. But if you didn't notice, the theme in particular for Atem, for the film Bonds Beyond Space, it's actually technically a bit of a mashup. So it does take elements from the Japanese version of his theme, but it also takes elements from the English dub theme. And in particular, it's what's actually currently playing right now as I speak in real time, if you're hearing it with me in real time. Yeah, that melody, if you will, is something that I really, really liked. I thought it was a nice little bonus, little touch that the English soundtrack threw in there. And so I thought, what if we just took both, right? Take the best of both worlds and I put them together, and it gave us the theme that we are listening to now. And again, a lot of the OSTs for this film, a lot of them, especially the ones that are otherwise original or what have you, they are meant to kind of put a spotlight on certain factions of the community that would enjoy certain aspects of each of these songs, each of these tracks, I should say. And in the case of this one, again, this was for the Japanese viewers and for the English dub viewers. So if you caught how there's a blend of both, well, there you go. You probably already knew exactly what was going on there. So it was all intentional, very much intentional, and it really, again, I really enjoyed putting that together. And I hope that enough of you guys enjoyed it. I hope so. And you'll understand in time why, right? Why Atem? Why is he even? What's going on here? Right? He was in the second trailer. I mean, what does this mean? the time will come. I will say that the time will come, and all will be revealed. It'll all make sense in time. But that being said, right? Oh, let me get into this. So. Ah, my goodness. So I released the animation short, Yugioh, the Keeper of Sennet. And this is based on something that some of you may not be at all aware of. It might not even be on your radar, which is totally fair, by the way, if it's not. This animation. So I'm gonna give you the story, okay? I'm gonna give you a backstory, the tragic backstory. No, I'm gonna give you the essential backstory of how this animation came to be and why I decided to put it out. So we need to rewind the clock again, right? We have to do this again. We got to go all the way back to basically the month 1 of me working on Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Space. And around that time where I was probably maybe 10 minutes or higher, 10 minutes or more into production, somewhere around that time I had conceptualized a character. And this particular character I wanted to be an Egyptian character. And this is kind of interesting too. I want to shout this out. I think I've done it before. But over on our Discord, there's a lot of enthusiasm around OCs, and in particular, of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! OCs. And I guess the thing about that is that I personally had not really taken the time to ever publicize and any of those kinds of things that I may have been interested in. And to be totally honest with you, I am interested in that kind of thing. I'm especially interested in people's original works. And if they happen to utilize an existing IP just as a foundation to be able to tell a story with original characters and whatnot, that is something that I'm definitely here for. I make it a mission to go out there and try to find as many original stories that folks have made. A lot of them have been live action for sure, but just different series and whatnot that people have made out there on YouTube. And I go out of my way to try to find them because I really do enjoy seeing what people cook up. And that's another big piece that I've talked about before is this project and any projects that I do in the future. I'd ideally, if I can be so bold to say it, I'd like to pave the way for people. I want to encourage more people to go out there and make their creations come to life. And for me, I mean, it's a dream come true to be able to do things in the manner that I am. Again, despite all the downs, there's been so many ups within this as well. And honestly, I got a feeling that things are going to only get better from here. I think so, if I may be so daring to say. But I digress. So, the character who is featured in the animation short, I already had conceptualized her prior to what inspired me to actually do something with this character beyond just creating them for my own viewing. And this character, if that wasn't obvious already, if you haven't already seen it, her name is Sennet, and again, she's an Egyptian character, if you will. If anything, she's I wouldn't say outright, but she definitely has, and I wouldn't be surprised, right, if anybody gets kind of a connection vibe with this character and other characters such as pre-existing characters like a Shizu, Odeon, or Merrick, right? But that was something that I've always wanted to see more of personally. Especially post Merrick in Battle City and Shizu and Odeon as well. I would love to see what's going on with them in the modern day. That's a whole conversation I could definitely get into. But regardless of that, so this character I came up with, and then Konami decided to do something amazing, absolutely amazing, and I applaud them for this. I think this was a great decision. Marketing-wise, it was a great decision for them. I think for the sake of the fans, for the sake of Takahashi's original work, this was an excellent idea. And so what they did is they recently announced a new set that's going to be released for the OCG, aka Japan's dueling sphere, if you will. They're going to be the first ones to get it as usual. But this is a set that's going to feature 3 different decks, and one of those decks is called Sennet, and this is a deck that features Egyptian-themed monsters. And this was something that it's not as though we haven't seen either cards from back in the day finally being released that have some kind of Egyptian ties, or at least ties to dual monsters, or at least one deck like Horus that is obviously very clearly connected to Egyptian mythology and what have you, and things of that nature, right? What I think really makes this deck stand out is first and foremost, it's a ritual deck. It's a ritual monster based deck, and there's at least 1 or 2 ritual decks that have come out within maybe the last 4 years or so that at least saw some significant play, that were brand new decks and what have you, that either were based on original cards like the Hungry Burger, or some new stuff like Mitsurugi, whatever. And it's really cool, I think, that they have not outright given up on ritual monsters. And I think it'd be a real shame if they ever decided to just pull the plug. But thankfully, every single spin-off show, and well after the conclusion of Reigns, we have seen more ritual monsters. But now we actually have a mainline ritual deck that theoretically is probably has the potential, and I would argue it does, to be a pretty big contender, whether you're playing casually or playing in a more competitive nature. And I gotta tell you, I have play tested this deck. I've built it the way that I saw fit. I know that a lot of folks are building it a particular way as of right now, and there's definitely some justifiable reasons and understandable reasons as to why they do, but I decided to build it more so on a pure basis. Again, the idea was to get into this deck, right, from the perspective of this character who would be directly connected to it. So it was perfect. The stars aligned. I already had a character that I wanted to do something with, but I just wasn't quite sure. I wasn't even sure if this character would be a duelist, for that matter. That was something that I hadn't really decided on. And then when this deck got announced, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's got to be one. Because this deck is perfect for this character. I couldn't think of a better choice. So again, it was perfect. The only thing that really ended up changing for the character in particular, other than whether or not they'd be a duelist, was there specific aspects of their design. Originally, there wasn't as much green in particular, but that just kind of came naturally. And honestly, I really loved how it turned out. She actually had yellow eyes originally, but changed them to green, and I quite like them at this point the way that they are. So that's really what ended up happening. So I had created the character prior, and then the deck gets announced, and I was already debating whether or not the character would be a duelist or not, and it was just perfect. It was literally perfect. And gosh, you know what? I think I will. I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna go ahead and feature the deck. I think you guys ought to see this deck that I'm talking about. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some game footage right now. I'm gonna go ahead and play. You might hear some some noises right now because I'm gonna set up a match real quick via Dueling Nexus. Shout out to the folks over there, the very talented folks over there that have made it just a fantastic way to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Let me pull this up. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, right, this deck. Now, as you can see right here, we have the monster right here, Sennet Nacht Sphinx. I think I pronounced that right. I hope I did. So let me show you how this thing works. Okay, so we're gonna start with our big boss monster, essentially. That is more or less, he is the boss of the deck, if I may say so. And then we have one of the main deck monsters. There's only 2 of them besides the other ritual monsters, which we'll get into as we go. But this is Nefertari, and I've seen different people try to pronounce her name, and it's like everyone seems to be getting it wrong. I have no idea why, but it's Nefertari. It should be a pretty easy. I thought, but I guess I thought wrong. I don't know. Right, but her effect kind of gets the deck really going for sure. But this is your main search card, so I'm just going to pull something out of a hat real quick. Here we are. Let's see. What do I want to do here? Yeah, we're going to go here. So again, I've been playtesting this deck for, well, ever since it was made available via Dueling Nexus, and I love it. This is the first, right? This is the very first ritual-based deck that I have ever actually just picked up and played. I've never had the inkling to do it because there just really wasn't a lot to work with. Mitsurugi just really wasn't quite up my alley, to be perfectly honest about that. And I definitely liked the idea that a ritual deck like it was made not only viable, not only playable, but very competitive. It ended up being pretty powerful for a time, for sure. I think it still has some relevance even now, as far as the metagame is concerned. But this deck, I love it. It's all right. So as you can see here, right, I've got some normal monsters on screen, some of which that you might recognize. Gee, I don't know, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Have you ever heard of it? The Black Skull Dragon, which is why this deck would utilize an extra deck without actually having to go through the trouble of summoning them through the traditional sense. This deck lets you tap into what's effectively normal monsters, but they happen to be fusion monsters, because these typical fusion monsters from back in the day, for example, don't actually have any effect. Right. But then, and this is kind of a fun fact here, but this Summon Skull, this was the first Summon Skull, as far as the artwork is concerned. This is the first Summon Skull I, in real life, ever got my hands on, and I still have it today. I actually got it through a family member. He gave it to me along with a whole bunch of others, and this is almost a prized possession at this point, just because it's signature. It's got Kazuki's signature on it, and I really love that. I know they put out a few more, like the God cards. There's versions of the God cards now that has his signature on it, which I think is really cool. I've got one of them actually as well. I've got the Winged Dragon of Ra. I hope to get more. Gosh, but I'm like sitting here. Right. Okay. So essentially, how the deck works is I take some normal monsters, I send them from my deck to the graveyard via the effect of the field spell, which eventually there will probably be other ways to ritual summon, and that's effectively what I just did. So instead of having to do it all through the hand, right, I gotta have like some kind of ritual spell card, and I've gotta have the ritual monster in hand. Well, this deck can either summon a ritual monster from the hand, or it can do it from the graveyard. And it'll take whatever is necessary in order to summon the monster from either your hand or your deck or your spell and trap card zone. It's so unique, and I love it. I love this idea of how this deck operates. It's also intriguing as well, just simply due to the fact that it can avoid a lot of the problems that most, in particular, competitive decks tend to run into these days, and you'll probably see what I mean in time. But that's essentially right. That's a pretty basic first turn right here as far as what this deck can do. And obviously, here's a monster that some folks will probably be familiar with. So yeah, I threw that in the deck. I haven't seen a lot of people using it for this deck, and I understand why, because it really can only search out the ritual monsters of the deck. But that's not exactly, in my mind, that's not quite a problem, at least the way I'd see it. So here's another function of what one of our main deck monsters does. She can banish herself and equip a normal monster to one of the rituals. So basically the way this works, right, is the ritual monsters of the deck, they all utilize the normal monsters in multiple ways, where it really gives a purpose to the normal monsters in a way that they almost never did before. I mean, obviously, right, Blue Eyes and a deck that's centered around Blue Eyes can do a whole lot of things with the monster that happens to have no effect. But in this case, this deck can utilize, I mean, virtually any normal monsters you see fit. And I know that there's particular picks that most people might go for. But again, I decided to stylize this on the concept that this would be a pure deck, and this would be a deck that'd be played by my original character. So that's kind of the idea. So anyway, I'm dealing with, let's see, what deck is this? This is Labyrinth, I see. Okay. What do we got here? Okay, we're good. So we got an effect going off. Nope, I think we're gonna let that slide. Let's see, is this another? Let's see, turn. Vanish. Oh my. Okay. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Intriguing. So I'm just gonna let them play this out a little bit, except for that. I'm gonna stop that. And then negate one other thing here. So the reason why this is also a pretty good trap. So here's one of the trap cards of the deck. Let me actually talk about this for a moment. This trap can negate multiple effects at the same time. And with the kind of deck that I'm currently dealing with at the moment, right? If this deck were to have had another monster whose effect was activating prior to another or before or what have you, right, in a chain, this card, this trap card, as long as I have at least a normal monster or one of my Sennet monsters, this thing can shut them both down simultaneously, theoretically, which is kind of awesome. so it has a very, very unique way of combating pre-existing decks as of right now, which I think is just, it's cool. It's really interesting. But I digress. Let's see here. So what we got here? Can't activate effects. Okay. Target a normal trap. Is that right? Let's do something interesting. And the trap cards themselves, they also have uses in the graveyard. So the deck really does rely on setting things up from the graveyard in order to really get the ball rolling. So it's again, it's very interesting. And mind you, again, this deck, right, would effectively be the deck that my character Senna would play. And so you're kind of getting a front row seat of the action here as far as what she'd be capable of. So enjoy. Again, I've had a lot of fun with it. I think that it has potential. I know that some folks have kind of dismissed it because it has to specifically rely on rituals as a mechanic in order to function. But I really do think that it has a lot of potential. I've put this deck up against a lot of different kinds of decks, including Labyrinth previously. And so you'll kind of see how this turns out. But it's again, I love how this deck plays. It's so unique and it's so interesting, and it helps, right? It helps that this deck just so happens to be themed around Egypt. That icing on the cake, really. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with it. Oh, so that's interesting. So they took. I love this. It's relinquished, a version of relinquished, if you will. Okay, let's. How do we want to combat this? So we've got two effects. So if I had the trap card right now, I would have been able to shut those two down. But I do have another thing I can do. Ooh, nice try. See, but what's great about these ritual monsters as well is they can defend themselves from a whole lot of things as long as they've got an equipped monster, in this case being a normal monster. So very, very useful stuff. Very, very effective. I will definitely say that. So let's see. For the situation at hand here, I have an idea. So watch Senna go. You could say that this is her playing this. I'm just here commentating, I guess. Let's see. How do we want to proceed here? I got it. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna grab this guy. Okay. Let's see. What do I have here? Okay. So I'm gonna get this guy back. And I'm gonna summon this fella. Use his effect. So this is the other main deck monster, Amenhotep. Amenhotep? I think so. I think I got it. I hope I did. Anyway, right. So what he does is he'll go ahead and reveal your normal monsters just like Nefertari does, and he will set your traps directly from your deck to your background. So very, very useful because a lot of the trap cards as of right now are also key parts of the strategy for this deck. So let's see here. Got, okay. Who to summon? I think let's go for you. There we go. Bam. Then we're going to go ahead and equip. Okay, and then, let me see here. Yeah, they do have my blue eyes at the moment, but we're going to change that. We're going to change fate. Let's see. Let me throw on another quick OST while I'm at it, as I decide how I'm going to proceed here. Should we go with Joey? Let's go with Joey. Alright, let's do this. We're going to... I think I have think I have one? Yeah, I do. Okay. No, we'll go to the battle phase. Alright, let's see. First, let me get that Blue Eyes back. Let's see. Da-da-da. Okay, perfect. Alright, my Blue Eyes is back home. Now, I can't recall everyone's effects here, so I might swing and make a bad choice. But no worries. Everything will work out somehow. Alright, here we go. Let me go to my main phase 2. Okay, we are going to shuffle these two back into the deck. So that's another effect of Amenhotep, is he can banish himself and recycle our normal monsters from the graveyard back into the deck, which is very useful because obviously the field spell needs them to be at least in the deck or in the hand in order to use them for a ritual summon. Right, so we have 2 other traps here. I actually get to feature basically everything from this deck. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so the trap cards here, this trap in particular, it will negate spells and trap cards, which is obviously useful. And then we have a trap card that also ritual summons. So that's pretty interesting, if I may say so. So let's see what the opponent does here. They've got a pretty full field at the moment, but we'll see what we do. As a matter of fact, I think I have an idea. I could try. Let's give this a shot. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do one more ritual summons. We're going to feature the last monster of the ritual monsters currently for this deck. Gosh, I don't even think I pronounce everyone's names here. Let me see. So I wanna pronounce this right. Sennet Wajet. I hope so. I hope I got that right. And Sennet Miss Neckbet. I hope I got that right. I hope so. Anyway, okay. So, how are we gonna do this? Let me think. So they both have pretty particular effects, which in this case, I think I'm gonna take advantage of. Let's see. If this card is normal or special. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm gonna let it play out. Let me see what they decide to do first. No, we're good. Okay, we've got a Synchro Summon. Let me do something about that. In this case, yep, I'm gonna dump all of them. I'm gonna bounce one. So this is a okay. I can't recall what that is. Is that the same monster? I'm not sure. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can make this fast. Oh boy! Oh wait, hold on. I think I got it. Yep. Alright, we're going to... Oh, it didn't work. Okay. No worries. Let's go ahead and special summon. So this is another neat little thing here, is that they can also special summon the normal monsters to the field. And depending on what you need to accomplish, these guys can actually be quite useful, I would say. You'll see that as we go along here. But here's our other trap card taking effect. So yeah, I got left with 2 monsters at the moment. They're going to do what they're going to do, special summoning and yada yada. That's just what they do, as far as that particular deck is concerned. But it's all good. So I've got all of my rituals back in my hand, as you can see, and that's actually not a problem because they all serve different functions. So this is actually going to play out quite nicely, if I may say so. So first I'm going to get this to my hand. Then I'm going to activate the spell from the grave, and I get to, for free, summon a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Isn't that great? just because. You know, why not? Why not, right? Why not? Let's see. We're going to take this from the deck. We're going to set that. Okay, here we go. And then we're going to activate this one's effect. And let's see, what do we need to sack? I think we need this guy in the graveyard. Yeah, because we're gonna need to do some recycling again. Let's see. As far as what we have, now go ahead and switch up the tune again. Let's see, we've got one. Yeah, we might need to recycle at some point. No worries. Let's see. So I've got this in my hand. I haven't activated it yet. Let me do that now. Let's get going. And there we go. We've got almost everything right here. Let's see. Next, go ahead and set some cards face down for later. Let's How do we want to proceed? I'm gonna do my best to win this thing. Obviously, this is it's quite a fight. They're definitely giving me a run for my money, but I think I'm doing the same likewise, because otherwise their life points are looking a little slim. So good luck with that. All right, let's send this to the grave. I'm just gonna grab this back. Let me set that. Okay. And now, what do we want to do? I think I have most... Yeah, a lot of this has already been banished. So we banished 2 of those. The field spell is good. Alright, we're gonna do some ritual summoning. Once again. Let's see here. Let's go for the big guy, why not? Bam! Then, I'm gonna go ahead and equip. Sounds good. If only I had one of the trap cards to utilize right now, that would be excellent. But unfortunately, no dice at the moment. But it's not a problem. As a matter of fact, I might have game here. Let's see if they have anything to stop me. Otherwise, this is it. And survey says game. Okay, there we go. That was a quick little featuring of Sennet's deck, the Sennet deck to be exact. There we go. So anyway, yeah, that's gonna do it for that. Checking on the chat here. Yeah, I guess today's probably a slow day. I don't know, or maybe folks didn't get notified. Who knows? But no worries, no worries. I'm at least glad that I got to break everything down. And again, the stream will probably still be available for you all to watch and playback. So by all means, for anybody that missed the stream for any reason, actually, I'll say this here right now. For future reference, but folks that catch this stream after it is done and is available to watch on the playback, let me know if you were notified to this stream in the comment section. Be good to know, because it seems like maybe folks weren't this time around for whatever reasons. So it'll be good to get that insight. Anyway, there we go. So yeah, we talked about a Thames theme, we talked about what's going on with the film and my current progress, and we got to talk about my latest short animation, which perhaps will be the first of many. We'll see. But other than that, I think that'll do for now. I think that was a fair stream, all things considered. So to anybody that joined me, and especially to Ryhard SX7, who was in the chat, keeping things going, shout out to you. Thanks for joining me here, especially in the live chat. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and close out for now. We almost hit an hour. We're looking at 50-something minutes, but that's no problem. This was just a nice little thing to get back into, because it had been a while since we actually even managed to pull off a decent stream. So there we go. Again, thanks to anybody that joined me live. There will be updates in due time. Again, I should be getting back into production the following week. And yeah, don't forget to join the Discord if you have not already and would like to stay in touch outside of YouTube, and to also get the chance to just connect with the duelists, especially creative minds that are looking to further their own projects. And yeah, all other links are already on the channel, so feel free to check those if you'd like. And again, a big thank you to our Patreon members. Thank you so much for that support. Thank you to those that share out the channel, the videos. Thank you. Stay safe, take care, and as always, it's time to duel.